Over on Capitol Hill, clashes over two big crises playing out. Lawmakers at odds over the administration's coronavirus response and the path forward for a relief bill. Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin taking on a number of the rights claims in Friday's hearing with Dr. Anthony Fauci. Let's take a look.
Is COVID-19 going to magically disappear, Dr. Fauci?
I do not believe it would disappear.
I'll say it again. But
it's going to disappear.
Does wearing a mask give people COVID-19?
Does wearing a mask give it? No.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge.
I can't help but wonder if by keeping a mask on and keeping it in place, that if I might have put some germs, some of the virus onto the mask and breathed it in. I don't know.
Can people cure themselves of COVID-19 by injecting themselves with disinfectant or bleach? I'm sorry?
No.
And then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning?
And joining me now is Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland, who serves on that select subcommittee on the coronavirus crisis, as well as the Judiciary and Oversight Committees. Welcome back, and I'm sure you are applauding the editors that put that together, because you put everything to bed there. It was pretty clear. This COVID-19 hearing, how do you plan to move forward? Build on what you heard there. What's the next priority for your subcommittee?
Well, thank you for having me, Alex. And as you saw, I mean, I was just trying to engage in a little deprogramming, because there's so many Americans who are fed this propaganda diet on Fox News nonstop with all of these myths about COVID-19, and we're wealthier and we have greater scientific expertise than all of these countries that are defeating COVID-19 all over the world. And we're in the worst shape, with the possible exception of Brazil, whose authoritarian President Bolsonaro has been following Trump's policy. But there's no comparison between what's happening in Europe or Asia and what's happening in America. Mm-hmm. And the difference is that we don't have now the social cohesion and the political leadership to tell people the truth about the disease, to explain that everybody's got to wear masks, we've got to maintain social distancing. And it's not a joke, it's not a hoax, and masks don't give you the disease. So, look, but we have to proceed on two tracks now that we're this far along without a plan. One is that we need to rush an emergency infusion of money into the economy to prevent a full-blown depression. We just saw a 1/3 drop in GDP. That's absolutely extraordinary. The economic devastation that's been wrought by the lethal incompetence and recklessness of Donald Trump. So we need to get money to the states and the counties and the cities and the hospital system. We need to get it to all of the unemployed people. More than 50 million people have filed for unemployment benefits since this began, and it just expired. And the Republicans are basically out golfing with the president. I mean, they're not paying attention to the real needs of the society. But then at the same time, we've got to try to accomplish some sort of reset and start this thing over again with a real nationwide strategy to defeat the disease. I hear the Republicans talking about we've responded well. We've got an enemy out here. You don't respond to an enemy, you defeat the enemy. We've got COVID-19, and we have to determine where it is. We've got to drive it out. We've got to quarantine the people who have it, take care of them, contact trace everybody else, and then prevent the disease from spreading. But they seem to be engaged in this implicit policy of human sacrifice, where the time between millions now is being cut in half every time. And so, I said, when are we going to get to 5 million? It could be 10 days. It could be 12 days. We lead the world. 4.4 million people, more than 153,000 dead because of it. And there's no end in sight with the aimlessness of the administration.
Mm-hmm. In fact, tragically, I have to update your numbers. More than 4.6 million infected and more than 155,000. I mean, look how quickly these things change. But as we discuss this, I want to ask about your fellow Congressman, Raul Grijalva. He tested positive for coronavirus, but shortly after Congressman Louis Gohmert first tested positive. And the point being that those two were at the same hearing on Tuesday. Gohmert has been seen regularly out on Capitol Hill not wearing a mask. Look, there's absolutely no way to know exactly where Grijalva contracted the virus. But how are you processing this? I mean, among your colleagues getting sick?
Well, Alex, it took us more than 3 months on this committee, the Coronavirus Response Committee, to get the Republicans to stop fighting us about having to wear masks to committee meetings. In other words, the House committee that is supposed to be managing the crisis and coming up with legislation to deal with it has had to spend its time fighting with Jim Jordan and other members of the committee who have refused to wear masks as some sort of ideological protest against what? You know, this isn't taking place in other countries around the world. There's an entire political party here that has turned itself into a religious cult. And if Donald Trump says we don't wear masks, then they don't wear masks. And then there are no critical thinking skills applied. And I guess the word hasn't gotten back to them yet that even the president now, I think this week, at least half-heartedly, began to embrace masks. So I'm outraged on behalf of all of the members, on behalf of the staff. I mean, there were Republican staff members for Gomer calling the press to saying he makes us come to work and he berates us. He heckles us if we wear masks. I mean, that's just astonishing that this is taking place. But that gives you the mentality of the party that's supposed to be in control of the plague. And you see why it's out of control and why no one else is anywhere near America. It goes right to the heart of the operation.
Yeah. Congressman Jamie Raskin, I really appreciate your passion about all of this. Keep it up. We'll be glad to have you back on the broadcast. Thank you.